Hello, MF Kraven here, and welcome to Less Than 10 Minute Reviews, a YouTube series where I take a look at niche titles, hidden gems, and often overlooked games to tell you whether or not you should buy them in less than 10 minutes. So if that's the type of content that you like, consider subscribing and liking this video. Today I take a look at Manitas Kitchen, a cozy narrative-driven casual cooking game about a T-Rex and his dreams of becoming the world's best pizza maker. But can you help Trexito fulfill their dream, or are they in over their head? Let's find out. Graphics, sound, and art style. The art style is what drew me in, and while the sounds are alright, seeing Trexito in all the different poses is what kept me going. See, because it was only after a few hours that I realized I'm playing a pseudo-visual novel. Gameplay. It's a very simplistic game where you enter mini-games for almost all the things that you do. You knead dough and repeatedly press a button or a key. You sauce the pie by getting the sauce in the right spot, putting toppings by cutting ingredients as they come into the knife's fission, place it in the oven, and then you take it out, and when it's ready, you serve it to the customer. That's essentially it. You'll start with two simple recipes, but the more ingredients you buy and the more merits you achieve, the more recipes you'll get. With more recipes, you'll need more help. This is where the friend mechanic comes in. And no, unfortunately, like I said, it's a single-player narrative-driven game, so it's not multiplayer. You'll first be introduced to an ankylosaurus named Freckles, who can slap dough out for you, and they can do up to 3 when they are fully upgraded. Eventually, you'll also be introduced to Marsh, the Triceratops, who will bake a pizza with their flamethrower. And finally, Collini, the pterodactyl, who can sauce up to 3 slapped out pies for you. But not only will you use their power-ups to help you out, Trexito has one of their own as well. The ability to skip the minigame of cutting ingredients, and will allow you to do the ingredients for the upcoming pizza. Pizzas need to have precisely the right amount of ingredients, or risk being penalized by having your pizza rejected or landing only a good instead of a perfect. Price: $12.99 USD. How many hours estimated? I finished the game in 9 hours. Is it playable on Steam Deck? Yes, it became my preferred way of playing it as well. Final thoughts. So, when the story was being played out, I was invested. But then days would go by and nothing would come of the story. It'll be just another day, more hustling and grinding. Eventually I bought everything in the store and all the upgrades for my workers. So I just kept accumulating money that I couldn't spend. What I'm trying to say is the game hits a plateau. A few great details get thrown in and bam! Back to wondering when the story will progress. Which brings me to my next point. The story starts a bit boring. But then, when the flashback scenes hit, you'll get immediately invested. Well, by hour 7, I was just wishing that the game would end. And when it finally did, I was disappointed. Manitas Kitchen has an incredibly ambitious look to it. The same formula of an overcooked, but it's stunted by its single-player mechanic. And while I know it doesn't make sense for having to have anyone but Trexito cooking, the cozy/lax ambience of the game would be perfect to play with kids or a significant other who doesn't want to feel like they're playing a Soulsborne game. Now on to the bugs. I ran into a plethora of bugs. Sometimes the text would appear 3 days in a row. Other times Trexito would just keep walking towards a pizza delivery station, rendering the entire day useless. And even once, I was completely out of bounds. The game does not penalize you, so they're not exactly game-breaking. You just close up for the day due to stress. The stress mechanic is kind of useful too, because see, as a T-Rex walking around stress-free, you feel clunky, which I like. I'm not docking points for that. But the more stressed that Trexito is, the faster they move. The faster they move, the more pizzas you can make. Made me walk away from my PC for a few minutes to let him get a little stressed, just to walk faster, and I would still whip out 11 to 13 pizzas, which is what you'll average per day. The nighttime levels have an illusion of being harder, because lights will go off, making the pizza process harder, but you'll also have no help either. What I'd do is just I'd slap out 5 pizzas and I'd make the one on screen. If another one pops up, I'd sauce the pizza while the other one is baking and just repeat the process. With the time it takes to sauce and bake a pizza, realistically you'll be able to make 6, maybe 7 maximum. So 5 is a sweet spot for me, especially in the late game when you have pizzas with 6 ingredients and money doesn't really mean anything. Now, even though I spent the last few minutes berating the game, notice how much attention to detail I put into it. Why? because at the beginning I was having a genuinely good time. I got the science of pizza making done, and the journey to get to that was great. But after the 7th hour, I just wanted to finish the game. The story doesn't need to be stretched out so long to seem like the game is longer than it actually is. I would have preferred it if you could have at least have some sort of indication of how long it would take before the next cutscene. Hey, on day 17, so-and-so is going to come over, and day this, something. But to recap, it's full of bugs. It's a cozy game with no real consequences if you fail. Learning the science behind it is a lot of fun. The characters are cute and charming, and the story is nice until it's not. I just wish it was shorter, and really wish it had multiplayer or co-op or something to do with somebody else. For that, on a rating of buy it now, wait for sale, or do not buy, I give this a wait for sale. So don't expect to be wowed by Manitas Kitchen, but it still feels like a nice introduction to a casual cooking game. Personally, this is one that I'd probably let my kids play, even though there is some nefarious themes to the story, without no spoilers, to train them to play Overcooked or Played Up. Plus visually, the game is pleasing. I love Trexito. I cheer for him. I wish him nothing but love and success. I just need some of those bugs ironed out. And the price isn't terrible for what it is, but in good conscience, I just can't tell y'all guys to buy it flat out. So, wait for sale.